All right. And welcome to another episode of Danjos' Footballing Corner. Today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming North London Derby, which is going to be on Sunday, 6 p.m. 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I think in England is, I want to say, a 2:30 kick, a 2 o'clock kickoff? Something like that, 2 o'clock kickoff. I just want to go over what will be happening with the game. It's a big game. And if we look at the Premier League table real quick, it is a big match for Arsenal after their 1-1 draw against Brighton. It's going to be quite an interesting match. They're going to be playing in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It looks like a toilet. It's going to be potentially already a game that will see if Arsenal can maintain a title push. Now, what I mean by that is if they lose and Liverpool and Manchester City they both win their games, they will be 5 points behind, which is not great. In their only 4 games into the season, Arsenal currently 4th place. They have 7 points. They won their first 2 games quite convincingly. The third game, however, was something that was not particularly a great watch. Excuse me. No, it was not a great game. Particularly, they lacked the concentration levels to kill off the match. Declan Rice got a red card. And I'm not entirely sure what the next step here is for Arsenal. I thought that this, to maintain a title race with Manchester City, you objectively have to hit 90 points. And if you hit 90 points, you're in with a shout. And if you don't, well, you're fucked. This is the season where they really needed to kind of keep level heads. They needed to develop a mentality to kill games off. And I think Declan Rice showed a lot of inexperience at the high level, getting a red card like that. Regardless of if you think it was a red card or not, you really need to be careful and make sure that you are not, prone to making mistakes against a quality Brighton team that we've seen this season blow teams away. They destroyed Everton. They won their second game against Manchester United in the last minute, 2-1. And then they, went to the Emirates and got a point. These are games, objectively, though, that if you are in a title race, you need to win. And I think with Arsenal, there needs to be this development of a mentality that kind of pushes you to that next level. And I don't exactly think they're there yet. Now, if you listen to our podcasts, which you can listen to on Spotify at Street Logic Sports, I was telling Naoki and Yusuf that, they think that he should be fired if they do not, challenge for the title. I don't think that's the case. I think that if he is able to stay, Mikel Arteta, if he's able to stay around Manchester City and presumably Liverpool, if they are in this title race up until the final weeks and they lose it by, again, 2, 3, 4 points, there's nothing wrong with losing against probably the best Premier League team of all time. But at the same time, if Arsenal lose this game against Tottenham, they go into the Manchester City game at the end of this month, I believe, at the Etihad, needing to get 3 points, and they lose, 2 games that a lot of people may have thought that they were able to win, then you leave yourself in a big hole. That's an 8-point gap, and that's something that you don't ever really come back from. 8 points, even if it's early in the season, when you're hunting a Manchester City, is a big, big, big ask for any team. Now, if we look at the team news, it's not exactly all rosy for Arsenal. Martin Odegaard got injured on a national break. He'll be out for 3 weeks. Messed up his ankle, looked like he was in a lot of pain. Haaland gave him a little bit of a hug, but was probably thinking to himself, Declan Rice is going to be suspended. Ricardo Calafiori, he's injured. He's on a day-by-day assessment. And then Mikel Moreno is injured from fracturing his shoulder in training. So essentially, what would be their starting midfield is not going to be fit for the North London Derby. Now, for Tottenham, Mickey van der Ven has been training this week, as Ange Postecoglou said in a press conference, but has a knee issue. Dominic Solanke, ankle injury against Newcastle United, will be unsure if he will play against Arsenal. And then Richarlison will be out for a few weeks and is expected to be back for their Europa League game against Karabakh. Now, if you look at the two teams and how they've started the season, Tottenham have averaged 68.5% possession in the 3 games that they've played, and they have struggled to really create chances for Dominic Solanke, and he's actually kind of struggled to score the goals that they need, to kind of replace this. They're still looking for that Harry Kane replacement. The first game they played against Leicester, first 45 minutes, beautiful performance. Second half, wank. Second game against Everton shit. So that's not really a game that you can kind of judge, a team that's hunting for a Champions League spot. So winning that, I think it was 4-1. That's a pretty good result. Third game, they lost to Newcastle. So it's been a very slow start, I would say, for Tottenham. And I think that they really struggle to not just control games defensively, but they are far too open. And I think if they really, really want to stick to this system that Ange Postecoglou likes to play, high press, intensity, inverted fullbacks, going for it 110%, I think that they really, really need to figure out maybe a different formation or getting 2 people to hold in front of that back, almost 2, you would like to say. It's a back 4, but the fullbacks are always, going forward. But we saw against Leicester, they're very susceptible on the break. They really struggled once Bentancur got injured, they really, really struggled to get a foothold in midfield. Now, whether Bissouma brings that, I think he does. I just think, can he stay healthy? Sarr is a great player, and I think he's quality. And Bentancur is a fantastic player as well. It's just that he's injured all the time. So I think that we're kind of in this interesting period for Spurs where if they win this, I think that kickstarts their season. If Arsenal lose this, I think that this is going to be a huge issue. I think only grabbing 7 points from your first 4 games, and you're expected to, all of us, even though they're not here, most of us had them winning the league this season, strictly based off the fact that, if they could turn those games that they drew or lost, like against a Fulham or against a Aston Villa, if they could turn those into 6-pointers, they're in with a shout for the title. Now, looking at their form, like I said at the beginning of the video, Arsenal's last match, they were held to a 1-1 draw. And, Leandro Trossard scored a great goal when they won 2-0 against Wolverhampton. David Raya made some great saves. And I think the first game of the season was a bit interesting. I think they controlled the game well, but they definitely look like they need to buy a striker. And I think that is something that really needs to happen. If you look at the Brighton game, I don't remember who misses that one-on-one opportunity when it's 1-1, Arsenal's down to 10 men. That arguably could have won them the game. I think it was around the 70th, 75th minute. I want to say it was Saka, but it was someone coming off the left. Someone was coming off of the left wing, cutting inside, goes to the goalie, tries to put it into the bottom right corner, misses. You need to score that. And I think that the issue that Arsenal have now, and I don't think Raheem Sterling is a player that can really enhance their chances finished, considering that he also struggles to shoot. They really need to buy a striker. Now, again, we've seen Tottenham spunk £65 million on Dominic Solanke, who gets you goals. He'll get you 15 goals a season in the Premier League, but the striker market is not exactly something that is showing lots of quality like it has in the past. I do like the Sterling signing. I just think that he's 29. He struggled at Chelsea, and I know everyone has really been struggling at Chelsea, but is he going to be the guy that can get you the goals and assists that Martinelli presumably cannot get anymore? I'm not so sure. Arsenal are just in a very interesting sticky patch, and they really need to get out of this, or the title race will be done by November, not December, November. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And look, in looking at Tottenham's perspective, this is a great opportunity to bounce back from a loss against Newcastle. You're playing at home, and I think that this is something that can really enhance their season and kickstart them and give them a trajectory that I think they can finish top 4. But we'll see. Now, another thing I would like to talk about real quick, key questions. Now, these are some questions that I wanted to pose. Now, can Arsenal's midfield click on Sunday without Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice? I personally think that they will struggle to create chances, and they might struggle to deal with Tottenham on the counterattack. However, I think another question that I pose, can Spurs play their horrendous high line and not get caught out against a potential front three, I'm guessing, of a Saka, Havertz, and Sterling? Now, I think this is going to be a very entertaining match. I think it's going to be similar to the 3-2 that we saw last year at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I just think that this might be a draw. I don't think both teams have enough to win the game just because of the injuries, and I also think styles of play really, I would say, benefit Arsenal as opposed to benefit Tottenham. I think Spurs are far too open defensively. They're too reliant on Romero and Mickey van der Ven to get them those recovery balls, to win the balls back, very high up the pitch, and then even make those recovery runs back to the box. I just think that they're going to really struggle if they play that high line the entire game and play at that intensity. We've seen Tottenham last year at the beginning of the season blow teams away because of how different it was. It was something that we hadn't really seen before in the Premier League. We had seen inverted fullbacks, but we hadn't seen them going at such an attacking, threat and really leaving large majority of space behind. I mean, one game that springs to my mind is the game against Chelsea. Presumably the worst hat trick I've ever seen in the Premier League from Nicholas Jackson, a.k.a. Michael Jackson. But again, that's a game they could have won, or they could have even sat back and defended, but they have like 9 men, and they were just getting ran through. They were getting trained. So, again, it's going to be a very interesting match. And my prediction for the game is going to be 2-2. I think it's going to be a draw. I think Arsenal will take the lead, but I think Tottenham will wake up, and I think that it will be a very entertaining game. My only question, again, my last question. If Arsenal are to lose this game and Manchester City and Liverpool win their matches, that's already a 5-point gap, right? And again, there's a lot of football to be played. However, they still need to go to the Etihad, and that will become a game that they need to win. And I don't think they've won at the Etihad since 2015, if I'm not mistaken. That might be wrong, but I don't think they've won there since 2015. So to go there that early in the season, already behind the guys that you're trying to beat to the title, that is an 8-pointer. If they lose that, that's an 8-point gap, and I don't think they make that up. If they win that, it's a 2-point gap, and the title race is right back on. So Arteta really needs to be careful with this game. And I think that if he gets to a point where, let's say, there is a red card or there is an injury and they need to make a system change, and it's like 80th minute and it's 2-2, like, you might just have to keep the point. Because if you go too far, too far over, trying to get the 3 points this early, and you exacerbate yourself and leave yourself open for the break, I think Tottenham can really win this game if they play their system correctly. So, again, it's an interesting match. I think it's going to be a very tactical match. I just think that with the injuries that Arsenal have, but the quality they have going forward, I don't think they'll lose, but I don't think they'll win. And I think that this will be a 2-2 draw. That is my final prediction for the game. Again, interesting game. For Spurs, this puts them right back into the top 4. And I know that it's only going to be the 4th game of the season, but given the quality of the Premier League and given the quality of the teams that are hunting for the Champions League spots, every single game matters. And Tottenham already have had a sluggish start. So to win against your most hated rivals at home is a huge confidence booster going into the following games of the season. So anyway, that's my prediction. Thank you for listening for my little quick rant. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week. We also have more content on our Spotify, on Amazon Music, on Apple, You can also follow us on Instagram at Street Logic Sports. You can follow us on Twitter, ST Logic Sports. And if you want to follow my Instagram, you follow me at dstanovic_. It might be private, but if you have any things you guys would like to ask questions, please leave it in the comments below. Leave us a like, give us a follow. We really appreciate all the support that we've been getting from you guys recently. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week. And I'm going to now go shit on Manchester United. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.